Hey guys, I'm Meteorologist Chris Tomer. Let's talk some mountain weather, and of course we'll talk about that early November pattern and what happens to California and eventually the southern tier of the Rockies. But right now, the bullseye for best snow is the Pacific Northwest, BC, Banff. That's where the storm track is nailing those areas with a rich onshore flow, and you can see the Lake Louise Twitter feed right here. They're seeing what I'm seeing. They're getting snow, and they're expecting another 3, 4, 5 days of this. At least that's what I see. I'm on Twitter, by the way, Chris_Tomer, if you want to go on there and follow me there. But I wrote all about this on my blog this morning. Early November storm track in California. I looked at some of my questions and concerns, and they're very similar to what I talked about yesterday. You know, how far south, how far west will this trough of low pressure eventually go? Where will it anchor itself? How will it track through the southern Rockies? All critical questions when you're trying to forecast snow. I'm going to show you the jet, and it's powerful, but it may be pointed in the wrong direction. That's not suitable for orographics in the Sierra. So all of those things are questions on my mind that will play all the way down the road between the 1st of November and the 6th or even the 7th of November. I looked at the current setup. You've got that big low, and it's the rich flow and the jet nailing the Pacific Northwest. In fact, here are the jet stream positions in the future. I'm going to show you some of the high-res versions of these. Here's the 11.3 version at noon. Look at the tilt of the whole trough as well. And it's a powerful jet, there's no question. It's probably run 150, 170 mile an hour. A couple of different streaks running through it. I mean, you're going to have strong winds at ridgetop and mountain, top levels, all the way from California into New Mexico and Colorado. But in California, this just may not be optimal. It may not be optimal, and the question is, how fast does this whole thing drop straight south through California? Then it may move fast out of California, so the timing, the amount of time in California may be small. All questions. So that's phase 1. Here's phase 2, and look how far south this trough digs. In fact, part of the low is in Mexico at this point, and by the 5th, the whole thing may actually cut itself off from the main flow in New Mexico or even further south. If that happens, that's not what we want for big snow in some of these areas. It becomes rogue, it's out on its own, it gets cut off from the main flow, it's not progressive. There are a number of issues that start to pop up when that happens. So there are definitely questions in my mind as to how this is going to play out yet. So I'm not 100% on board with big totals. In fact, you're going to see I've cut some down. But let me show you a couple of the other things I looked at here in my blog. I also went into forecast timing. That's going to be critical. Let me show you. Here is my latest Futurecast, future radar satellite here. There's Sunday at 6. There's Monday at 6. Everything's in the Pacific Northwest, BC, Banff. Until we get into Tuesday, here comes the trough digging south. Moves everything into the interior and southern tier of the Rockies. There's Thursday at 11 p.m. That's the 3rd of November. So the time the low spins in California is small in this particular analysis. And it's so far to the south that all that snow that you see in northern Utah, northern Colorado, and even for that matter in Wyoming is on the periphery. You're not even dealing with the primary low pressure storm cycle and the storm flow in that area. That would be all overrunning on the northern periphery. So let me run that out for you one more time. There's the animation Sunday morning. There's Monday morning at 6. There's Tuesday morning at 6. Here it comes through California. More of a glancing blow with the orographics minimal. And there's Thursday 11 p.m. So there's your timing on the future radar and the satellite. And then I went into a lot of totals. All right, so this will take us all of today through the 31st, and the snow is primarily in the Pacific Northwest, BC, and Banff, and so that's where everything's going to be hanging out through the 31st. And then it starts to make its move the 1st of November through the 6th. And I've cut a lot of these numbers down. I had southwest Colorado 2 to 3 feet. If it goes this far south, that is not going to be the case. And even northern New Mexico could suffer as a result of this. But in California, I've taken the numbers down, unfortunately. Even southern Utah, we might be able to push 10, 12 inches in Brian Head. But even the numbers on the northern periphery, I just wonder how those are going to, whether those will stand solid or not. But I have a lot of confidence in the Pacific Northwest, northern Idaho, western Montana, Banff, BC, because that flow is going to be rich as it drops down to the south. So those numbers I have a little more confidence in. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with the forecast and the data over the next couple of days to make a final call on this. So hang with me. I'll keep doing updates. We'll do one on Sunday and probably on Monday. Thank you for tuning in here. Always appreciate it, and take care.